I want to explain why I believe it is very bad news for Donald Trump that Justice Arthur Engoron has not yet issued his final ruling in the New York Attorney General civil fraud case. Now, you'll recall that January 11th of 2024 was the closing arguments in that case. New York Attorney General Letitia James was seeking $370 million, and that doesn't include the prejudgment interest and penalties, which can take this verdict in excess of $500 million. And New York Attorney General Letitia James is also requesting a permanent ban of Donald Trump to ever be involved in real estate in New York for the rest of his life. And at the conclusion of those proceedings, Justice Arthur Engoron stated that his estimate is that he would issue a final ruling on or before January 31st. He then ended the proceeding. Lots of other media picked up that same comment by Justice Engoron. It wasn't me predicting it. It was what Justice Engoron said. For example, this is the NBC article. Highlights: Trump civil fraud trial is over. Judge aims for decision by January 31st. New York Attorney General Letitia James is seeking $370 million in fines and to bar Trump from the New York real estate industry. And then from a lot of other articles, it explains Engoron concluded the day by estimating that he would issue an opinion in the case by January 31st. He then ended the proceedings. It was an estimate. He didn't guarantee it, but usually where Justice Engoron sets aspirational deadlines, he usually doesn't overshoot them. So some intervening event happened. Do you know what that intervening event is? Well, I have a very good idea what it is and why we are now learning that the fraud verdict is going to be delayed by about 1 week. And I've been getting these comments, Ben, you promised, look, Trump's getting away with it. No, this is bad news for Donald Trump. The intervening event is this: the letter that was sent on January 26th, 2024. So earlier in the week on Monday, January 26th, retired federal judge Barbara Jones, who's been serving for 14 months as the financial monitor in the New York Attorney General civil fraud case. She is an independent monitor. She was selected through a selection process by the parties after New York Attorney General Letitia James sought injunctive relief for the appointment of a monitor who would do just that: monitor the Trump organization's finances over the duration of the litigation and report back to Justice Arthur Engoron. So the final 14-month report was submitted by Judge Barbara Jones, a very well-respected retired federal judge. She's like the go-to person for monitorships like this and to serve as kind of independent monitors in federal cases. And so her words are very, very powerful. She is a very distinguished retired federal judge. And in her letter to Justice Arthur Engoron, she revealed a number of very alarming findings about the Trump organization's financial condition since the lawsuit has been filed. That's what she was reviewing. Over the past 14 months, during the pendency of the New York Attorney General civil fraud litigation, Donald Trump, the Trump organization, and its various entities have been engaged in a lot of alarming conduct. This is the language that was used by Judge Barbara Jones. As discussed more fully below, I have identified certain deficiencies in the financial information that I have reviewed, including disclosures that are either incomplete, present results inconsistently, and or contain errors. In addition, while defendants have been cooperative, information required to be submitted pursuant to the terms of the monitorship order and review protocol has at times been lacking in completeness and timeliness. I have previously reviewed these items with the Trump Organization, which has often agreed to modify the disclosures or implement processes to improve accuracy, transparency, and timeliness of the disclosures. Then in this letter, Judge Barbara Jones outlines the incomplete financials, inconsistent financials, and errors. And there was one example, too, which was contained in a footnote number 6, which states the following. Of particular note, I discussed the springing loan previously disclosed as being between Donald J. Trump individually and Chicago Unit Acquisitions, an entity related to the Trump Chicago Tower, with the Trump Organization several times. When I inquired about this loan, I was informed that there are no loan agreements that memorialize the loan, but that it was a loan that was believed to be between Donald J. Trump individually and Chicago Unit Acquisitions for $48 million. However, in recent discussions with the Trump Organization, it indicated that it has determined that this loan never existed. Let me repeat that this loan of approximately $48 million, which was claimed to have existed. This is a minor chump change here. I know Trump's a chump, but we're talking about at least $48 million that was on a balance sheet, that was on financials as being a loan, doesn't exist, never took place. Did you know that Fast Growing Trees is the biggest online nursery in the U.S. with more than 10,000 different kinds of plants and over 2 million happy customers in the United States, including this guy? You can grow lemon, avocado, olive, or fig trees inside your home on top of the wide variety of houseplants available. Fast Growing Trees makes it easy to order online, and your plants are shipped directly to your door in 1 to 2 days. And all along with their 30-day Alive and Thrive guarantee, they offer free plant consultation forever, which I absolutely love. I love Fast Growing Trees, and I recently got their most popular small avocado tree at a great price. Traditional landscaping could be so expensive, but Fast Growing Trees provides a great product at amazing prices, and I strongly recommend you check out Fast Growing Trees immediately. The experts at Fast Growing Trees curate thousands of plants, so you can find the perfect fit for your specific climate, location, and needs. That's what I did. You don't have to drive around to nurseries and big gardening centers. Fast Growing Trees makes it easy to order online, and your plants are shipped to your door in 1 to 2 days. Fast Growing Trees has in-house experts ready to help you make the right selection with growing and care advice available 24/7. You can talk to a plant expert about your soil type, landscape design, how to take care of your plants, and everything else you need. No green thumb required. Right now, they have the best deals online, up to half off on select plants. And listeners to our show get an additional 15% off when using the code MIDAS at checkout. That's an additional 15% off at fastgrowingtrees.com. Use the code MIDAS at checkout. That's fastgrowingtrees.com, and then use the code MIDAS. Offer is valid for a limited time. Tell them that Midas sent you. It goes on to say that the Trump Organization determined that the loan never existed, and thus it would be removed from any upcoming forms submitted to the Office of Government Ethics, and would also be removed from subsequent versions of the MAML, Material Assets and Material Liabilities. Judge Barbara Jones also pointed out things that she said in the financials were not consistent with the obligations by the Trump organizations in their various financial transactions. But if you just look at this, a $48 million phantom loan, and when you go and look at previous financial disclosures by Donald Trump, he lists this loan that was made by Chicago Unit Acquisitions, which you have to dig deeper. Trump owns 100% of Chicago Unit Acquisitions, and that then was supposedly making a loan to Donald Trump. So Trump is the lender and the borrower in this situation. It's referred to as a springing loan, meaning the lender is kind of putting some punitive measures on this loan because they believe that the borrower is high risk. So an entity that Donald Trump owns is characterizing himself as a high-risk borrower, as a springing loan, sometimes referred to as a bad boy loan. And then when you dig deeper, it turns out this loan didn't even exist. Well, when you go historically and you go, what could this even, Chicago unit acquisitions? Well, it must be about Chicago. Is it about the Chicago skyscraper? And then you start learning, well, wait a minute. Donald Trump sued Deutsche Bank and Fortress and a bunch of other banks who made loans to him in this disastrous Chicago skyscraper deal when the housing market went bust in 2008. Trump then sued all of the lenders. They forgave debt as part of the settlement agreement. When you forgive debt like this, that could then be treated as income unless that debt is then parked in some other entity where you are still paying back the loan. You could try to create and make it on more favorable terms, but that loan has to exist somewhere else. The debt has to be purchased because if it's forgiven, you have to pay taxes on it. So I'm just asking questions here. Is what Judge Barbara Jones talking about an unlawful debt parking scheme whereby Donald Trump claimed to have acquired debt through Chicago unit acquisitions so he wouldn't have to pay income tax on the debt forgiveness, but that it was actually not parked in Chicago unit acquisition? That the money never even existed in the first place. It was just forgiven by Deutsche or Fortress or whoever were the parties that were settling at that time. But it was treated on a balance sheet like that money existed somewhere so that you could claim that you didn't have to pay the income taxes on it. I'm just asking the questions here. But you see why Justice Arthur Engoron now has a lot to think about? Because there's other instances like this in federal Judge Barbara Jones' letter. And now one of the pieces of relief, or one of the types of relief that is being requested by New York Attorney General Letitia James in this case is a continued receivership, a continued monitorship, a continued person within the Trump organization who has even more robust powers. So I think that Judge Engoron pretty much had the ruling done on time, ready to go Monday or Tuesday, ready to go. Probably checking for typos. He's very meticulous, very fastidious. Then what happens next? Then you get this letter on Monday. Then you had Trump's lawyer, Cliff Robert. He sent a letter, and here's the letter from that Cliff Robert sent from Robert and Robert. And they say that Judge Barbara Jones lacks competency. They say that her letter casts serious doubt on her competency. They say they paid her $2.6 million and that she's just being greedy. And Justice Engoron, the reason that she submitted this to you is because she wants to stay on as the monitor and keep getting paid. This is a gravy train for her. How offensive is that to even make that accusation? But it's typical Trumpian stuff to attack whoever, and this time attack the financial monitor's competency. She's one of the most respected retired federal judges in the entire country, one of the most high in demand people to perform these types of functions and assist courts in these things. So it just goes to show you, again, the low character of Donald Trump and his lawyers. But then Engoron got that letter. So Engoron now has to factor into his order, what is he going to do about Trump's ongoing conduct? And I think that one of the more powerful things that we're going to see when this Engoron order comes out, patience here is a good thing that we're waiting an extra week, because had the order been made before fully socializing, internalizing the gravity of these letters from federal Judge Barbara Jones and her analysis, then it actually would have been premature, and the order could have missed things. Now the order is going to include all this other conduct. Now, and I wouldn't be surprised if Justice Engoron basically orders some sort of quicker review, so these cases don't now have to take 2 years, to go through the system, like where Judge Barbara Jones spots a problematic conduct, it could be immediately brought to the attention of the court, and immediate remedies can be made right away as part of a continuing process versus a whole new lawsuit has to be brought. So that, to me, is what Justice Engoron is crafting now. That letter was the reason for 1 week delay. It makes sense. It came on Monday. Engoron thought it would be done by the 31st. Cliff Robert, Trump's lawyer, sent another letter. Engoron's now fashioning another remedy based on all of this additional conduct. I think we'll see a major section of his order focus on this. I think that's what he's finalizing. So expect this order early next week. But why I say this is devastating for Donald Trump, I don't just use these, well, it's devastating, he's going down. No, I mean, if we follow the data, that's Barbara Jones' letter. Here's when Engoron said the order would be made. There's a delay. What could the delay be? It has to be that. Is this something big enough that would impact Engoron? Absolutely. We're talking about $48 million phantom loans. We're talking about incomplete, erroneous, inconsistent financial statements over the past 14 months. That's big. That's big. And Trump's going to get hit hard for that. That's what's going to go down. I'm Ben Meiselas. This is the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million subscribers thanks to your support. Check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.